Years ago, I was leading a small group, and there's a young woman in our group, and she was fairly new to our group, and I could really see the issues that she was facing and really the difficulty ahead of her. And so in the group, we were talking, and she began to share something, and I just really kind of jumped in, fairly kindly, but jumped in pretty quick and began to speak into what I could tell that she was facing. Now, I thought I actually had a really good solution for her, and I could really help her. But she shut down. She, not in a passive way, but she basically shut me off. And then she shut down, and she did not let me go there. And the truth is, as we're caring for people, as we're leading people, maybe you're in a small group, which is a great way to grow in pastoral gifting, pastoral heart. It's not so much about what you know, because people aren't interested in what you know. They're actually interested in how much you care. And see, I hadn't actually built trust with her. And because I hadn't built trust with her, the insight that I had actually fell on deaf ears. She wasn't ready to hear it because she didn't know that I really cared about her. And you see, there's something about pastoral care in people's lives, pastoral leadership that isn't positional. You may have people in your small group or in your church or in your ministry, and they are showing up, but they actually don't yet trust you. And if you don't take the time to build trust, then you won't be able to go very far with people. You won't be able to help them step into God's call on their lives, to care for them, to free them up from the stuff that is really messing with them. Jesus actually does this really well with this lady named Fotina, the Samaritan woman at the well. She is known in church history as an incredible apostolic leader. She leads a bunch of the church in North Africa. She's revered by the apostolic leaders in Rome. She is a force to be reckoned with. But she starts off as this woman known as the Samaritan woman at the well. And Jesus encounters her, and he quickly builds trust with her and begins to build a rapport with her that allows him not just to speak into her heart, but actually to help her step into her destiny as a leader that changes in minutes a whole village, turns the whole village upside down. And she does it in a way that I think we can actually see in the Greek philosopher Aristotle. Now, I'm not crazy about Greek philosophy all the time. I don't think it necessarily always applies into in the church, but these keys from Aristotle and the art of persuasion, I'm going to add a little bit to it, but they're significant in actually building trust. You see, we're not trying to persuade people as in manipulation. We're actually just trying to build trust with people so that we can help them step into their destiny. And people really don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care. So the first part of really building trust comes to ethos. And this idea is centered around the question is, are they credible? People want to know if you're going to shepherd them and lead them, are you credible? They're going to watch your life for a bit of time. And so your first few interactions, maybe you're leading a small group and your first times with somebody, they may not be very vulnerable, because oftentimes people sit back and say, okay, does their life match their message? Are they credible? Do they really know what they're talking about? Can they be trusted? And then they're going to move to this maybe second question, that's pathos. And really the question on pathos is, do they care about me? So it's like, okay, they seem trustworthy. I like their life. I kind of trust the way they live their life, but I want to know if they actually care about me, because it's not so much just their life, but it's if they care about me. And so we enter into a phase oftentimes with people where they're learning to trust that we care. And it's not so much speaking into their heart as it is blessing them and building that relational trust. You see, real pastoral leadership is not positional. It's more relational and spiritual. And so people want to know that you actually care about them. And then we enter into this place called logos. And logos really asks the question, do they know what they're talking about? And so people want to know, hey, do they have integrity? Does their life match their message? And then do they even care about me? And then finally, do they know what they're talking about? And here's the thing that gets us all into trouble. Most of us know a little bit about what we're talking about, and then there's areas, maybe you're leading a small group, or maybe it just pertains to spiritual matters, and there's some things that you don't know. And people will actually forgive you if you don't know everything, if you have the humility and the integrity to say, hey, I actually don't know on this topic. And this is huge for most people, to not really just kind of fake your way through it, but to say, hey, I don't really know. I'm going to take some time to look into that, and I'll get back to you in a few days or in a week next time we're together. And that's where you actually really build trust, is that you're willing to admit that you don't know everything, that you don't have it all figured out. And people will trust you more if you're willing to admit that than if you try to fake it and piece stuff together. I'm going to add to what Aristotle taught in his Art of Persuasion. The fourth one is sophos, and sophos is the word that we get wisdom from. And this is really why people would be in a small group. They'd maybe follow your pastoral leadership, your shepherding in their life. They're going to ask a question like this: can they help me with a deep problem that I'm going through? You see, oftentimes people are carrying something dear to their heart. It's maybe something that they're struggling with, or sometimes they enter into a tough situation, a tough circumstance, and they want to know, hey, does this person actually have sophos, divine wisdom? Can I trust them with something that's really close to my heart? And this is the place where people want to know, hey, is this person actually trustworthy at a heart level? This is where Jesus in John 4 with the Samaritan woman at the well with Fotina, that he actually begins to speak into her heart matters. And she trusts him because of the insight that he brings. And a lot of people are carrying that, and they want to know, will they help me? And then finally, and this is where I missed it with that woman that was in my small group, is this question of Kairos. Now, Kairos is not just about time, but it's actually about divine timing. And there is something about Kairos that really matters, where we ask somebody a question, we enter into their world, we share a thought, we maybe speak to a topic, and it's not this general thing, but it's actually the very timing of God to speak into somebody's life. And when we do that, what we see is that people really encounter God in a way that sets them free. And I think the right thing at the right time has the divine power of God to move people forward at a rate that is really hard to see in any other way. And you see, here's the heart of it, is that pastoral leadership, pastoral care in people's life, pastoring people, it's not simply positional. It's not that, hey, I'm a small group leader or I've got this title of pastor, but it's actually relational. And the truth is that most people can't really be connected to hundreds of people. Most pastors in church, they can't pastor everybody. But as God equips and builds up through the church a whole army of pastors, then we begin to care for each other and shepherd each other in such a way that is really relational and spiritual and not simply positional. I believe that's what God wants to do. Here's another key. Kind of a rabbit trail for you, if you would, is that nobody ever matures out of needing pastoring in their lives. You see, when Jesus turned the disciples into apostles, he didn't cause them to stop being disciples, and he didn't stop caring for them and ministering to them. And the truth is, we all need pastoral care in our life. It doesn't matter if you're leading a church or a movement or all sorts of stuff, or if you're leading a small group, you never mature out of needing good care in your life. And so I encourage you even just to invite people, trust people to pastor you. And as you do that, you'll actually learn what it looks like to pastor and care for other people.